Alright, it's time to discuss five main talking points from the Premier League weekend. It's coming to you on a Sunday because tomorrow we are jam-packed, I'm sure as you are well aware. UFC 202 news, La Liga, a lot of other things to talk about. And Sundays I just like to put my feet up after the Premier League, give a little thought to what I've seen this weekend and then come at you guys with five major talking points. So pardon the wind chimes in the background and the weird waterfall that probably makes you guys want to go and pee. Obviously out in the backyard, but it's a nice day, so I figured I'd come out here to talk anyway. It's time to get to the five major talking points, and I know they will piss a few people off, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm just here to piss you off and get you thinking about things that your thoughts towards your team won't allow you to think at times. I think that far too often you see on YouTube or on media outlets is people just state the obvious sometimes, and I don't think that they go deep enough into the issues. And it is early doors, by the way, so trust me, I understand that. But my qualms already with Liverpool, which is the first major talking point, which is that Liverpool lack leaders at the back, and Jurgen Klopp should not go unscathed because he seems like one of the lads and he's out there for a bevy and all that stuff and he celebrates well and he's all well and he's all funny. I don't think he gets a pass because Liverpool had clear weaknesses at the back last year. Liverpool fans will make excuses saying that Dejan Lovren, Sakho last year were quality players, and they're not always at fault. Mignolet in goals is a liability, but from what I've seen against Arsenal, from what I've seen against Burnley, they allow too much space outside the box. Now, they had Clavante that was coming in this time, the German centre-half to play alongside Lovren, and again, mediocre is the standard at Liverpool at the back, and therefore Liverpool fans will feel offended if I bring this up, saying that Lovren is a fantastic player at the back there. Well, if he's a leader, he needs to make up for those who are not as experienced playing alongside him, and he has to orchestrate his defence. From what I've seen against Burnley with a 2-0 loss, is they lack leaders at the back. Now, if Joe Matip is the saviour, then my God, I hope he makes up for the full back four that is lacking some defensive stability. Klein going forward is always dangerous. You bring in James Milner to play at left back. Why? That's not a decision that a coach should make. You should have that position. You should understand that your left back is a severe liability and tackle that in the window. But Jurgen Klopp didn't. And too many Liverpool fans will give him a pass because he is a good manager and he's very likeable. But you have to understand that in the Premier League, it is a cutthroat business. Teams will isolate that weakness and they will penetrate. And at the moment, teams have isolated Liverpool, who have conceded 5 goals in 2 games. And it is early to judge. I'm not judging them completely. I still like what I see when they go forward. But at the back, they'll concede goals. Teams will destroy them at the back unless those defenders step up and show some leadership. Make sure that they are organised at the back, not giving free shots from the edge of the box, not giving time inside the box. And I think that Liverpool really need to wake up. Liverpool fans need to understand that, yeah, it's early doors, but your manager had a full transfer window to address a left-back problem. And understand that Sakho and Lovren are not good enough to win Premier Leagues and to finish in the top 3 or 4, because that's what Liverpool want to do, right? If you want to finish in mid-table, then fine. They're good enough defenders, but not to finish in the top 4. So the next talking point for me is unless Arsene Wenger's sheer arrogance in the transfer window is addressed, Liverpool fans will suffer. Why did I say Liverpool? I don't know why. I meant Arsenal fans, so you can take that back. Unless Arsene Wenger, his arrogance when it comes to the transfer window is addressed, Arsenal fans will suffer. They will be suffocated by this man's sheer arrogance and just inability to understand and address clear problems. And now, playing against Leicester, I think it was an equal draw. I think Arsenal actually got out of jail because Mark Clantenburg didn't give a clear penalty when Musa got in behind Bellerin and was able to get in front of him. And I watched the two Robbies argue back and forth on NBC over here in America. Robbie Mustoe, who played the game at the highest level, saying that it wasn't a clear enough foul, like they should both be running in straight lines. So according to Robbie Mustoe, he wants football to be played the same way that track is ran. Stay in your lane. You can't come across lanes because that's not a foul. You're coming into his lane. Horrendous. You played the game. This is why I don't suddenly respect every analyst's opinion because they played at the highest level. No, this has to be addressed that when it comes to world football, that everyone has an opinion, and sometimes just because they're prestigious and they are professional and they've got all the accolades doesn't mean their opinion's right. And by the way, to those that are tuning in, if you're understanding why I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm shooting this as a YouTube video as well. So just understand that I'm not paying attention to you guys. That's on Facebook Live, by the way, YouTube. See what I'm doing here? Multitasking. Anyway, talking about Arsenal. So Arsene Wenger makes this snide comment about, oh, I'm sorry that Holding didn't cost 55 million. Fuck off. The reason why is because you are relying on you, is because you didn't have backup and you didn't understand that the Premier League players go down injured and you need to have great depth. The same way that Van Gaal, if he turned around last season and went, oh, I'm sorry, Marcus Rashford didn't cost as much as Pato or Diego Costa because I knew he was going to do well. No, you didn't, mate. You didn't plan, and therefore you had to drag youth out and put them into a situation, just throw them into the deep end and hope that they swim. And in both situations, it seems like they're swimming pretty well. Holden looks good at the back. He makes some rash decisions at times, but overall, I think he looks pretty good back there. But that's not a decision that Arsene Wenger should have had to make at this point. When Gabriel goes out injured and you're relying on Mertesacker, who gives away just ridiculous fouls throughout the game, still slow, not good enough. Not good enough to win a Premier League. I don't know if I'm talking to a wall here when fans of the teams will argue back and they'll say, they're doing the job. What happened to the days where it was the Vidic and the Ferdinands at the back and the John Terrys in his prime, where those were the type of defenders that would win the Premier League? Huth and Morgan, yeah, they're not the most talented, but they were so structured together, they were so organised. And I just see a lack of organisation throughout these big teams and people just making excuses. So Arsene Wenger's arrogance, unless he goes out, and Bryza Mustafa or whatever else is who they're trying to bring in, now they're saying that because of Mahrez, another big loss, that Arsene Wenger could have went in and made a bigger move to try and get him, decided not to. He's going to have to put his arrogance to the side and go out and spend some money to bring in backups for centre-backs and another, I would say, attacking wide player and another centre-mid if you're going to go there. I think Coquelin had a good game against Leicester City, but while Arsenal had the better of the chances in the second half to win the game, I thought Leicester looked very poor on the counter-attack, not as convincing as they were last year. When Leicester City sprung into their counter-attack, you just felt this feeling that they were going to go through and at least have a shot and goal, but far too many of them were lacklustre at that point and just didn't take full advantage of a Arsenal defence that was there for the taking, if you ask me. So Arsene Wenger's arrogance in transfer window has to be addressed. They have to make at least 2 signings before the window closes, and he needs to get rid of his snide remarks because he didn't pay a ridiculous amount of money for a centre-half. Doesn't mean that you relying on your youth is any better, Arsene. So the next point for me is Zlatan is the confidence boost that United needed. So this seems like a trait. Last week in the 5 talking points, I talked about Zlatan and how he is the aura that Manchester United were lacking, this sense of belief that they can go and do things. And it's more than that now. It's just the confidence that each player is playing with is, I think, is encompassed by what Zlatan stands for. He stands for being higher than the pack. He stands for always holding himself to a higher regard than everyone else. The guy is in his 30s, the latter end of his career. Still encompasses excellence in everything he does. Still dominant in the air. That's 2 goals he scored in competitive play from the Community Shield onwards, of just towering over his opponents and banging the ball into the bottom corner. Many people question where he could handle the fast-paced physicality of the Premier League. Look at the size of the man. Look at the physique of the man. He is just a specimen of a great training and great focus on what you're there to do. And I could not give him enough praise. And every Manchester United player, Fellaini, you see him oozing confidence. Everyone's oozing confidence in this team, and it's the first time I've seen it in Manchester United for, I'd say, 2 or 3 years. Yes, they've had their spells where they've looked good, but they're confident. Even when teams are attacking them, like Southampton, who are not an easy opponent to play against. When they're attacking them and trying to play that wide attacking style of football that they have encompassed for the last 3 or 4 years, Manchester United didn't look threatened. They looked comfortable at home. And the yells of attack, attack, attack weren't out of frustration. They were out of enjoyment for the game. Enjoyment for Manchester United being fun again. So Zlatan is one of the main reasons why this is happening. Not because he's the be-all and end-all of their attack going forward. Sometimes he's not even involved. He's just there as a distraction to check to the ball. But his goals are vital, and just what he stands for, this ooze of confidence that comes out of the man, I think is crucial for Manchester United going forward. 4th point, Aguero is going to be the deadliest Premier League striker this year. I mentioned it in our previews. Pep Guardiola will he will adjust his team to try and help get the best out of Aguero because he knows that he's such a prized asset in that team. I'm talking 2011, 2012 Sergio Aguero. That's going to go even further. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes towards, at this rate, the 30-goal mark. I think it's 9 goals, I believe, in his last 8 Premier League appearances, dating back to the end of last season. He's high in confidence, towering in between 2 6-foot-plus defenders and knocking the ball into the back of the net with a header. That is Aguero timing, ability, confidence. Just sheer, he's like a killer instinct in front of goal, and I think that's something that was lacking. And obviously he shows a great deal of belief in himself after missing 2 penalties midweek to step up and bang in another penalty. And I think that everything about Aguero, his movement off the ball is great. Again, that's something I thought was lacking last year. I remember against Real Madrid away from home, he was checking to the edge of the box. Maybe that was a combination of lack of infrastructure and lack of ideas throughout the team going forward, so therefore he would check to the edge and try to smack a shot from 30 yards, which just isn't Aguero. He doesn't do that. He's more of an in-the-box poacher. He's not doing that anymore. He's just moving the ball out wide, low centre of gravity, holding it well, and getting back inside the box. And I think he's a joy to watch. I think Manchester City look good as well. But then we move on to the next point. Why did they concede their goals, and why did they get their first goal? There's the new laws in the Premier League this season. Is going to take some time to get used to. I'm talking about the new swearing laws, which of course Diego Costa would get the most obvious yellow card in history. I'll go on to Diego Costa as a bonus point at the end in his first game, and people will have to get used to the fact that you can't swear at the referees, and they will book you for it. And as proven with Costa, somehow he's not been sent off yet, but we'll get to that as I mentioned. A couple of teasers there, a couple of breadcrumbs. But the pushing in the box, the handling of opponents, this is something that's been throughout the Premier League for years. They've always been manhandling each other in the box. It looks like a WWE Royal Rumble in there sometimes when they're trying to handle each other. And sometimes in the Champions League it's been penalised because other European teams are not used to it. So if a team like Chelsea are throwing people around in the box, you see that sometimes it's looked at a closer light because the Premier League is so physical when it comes to defending, especially off the ball. Now, 2 penalties were given for off-the-ball handling. The second one was a disgrace. The first one, Shawcross, I think is just used to being a hands-on defender and has always done it. So it's going to take some time to get used to. The Shawcrosses of the world, the John Terrys of the world, these guys are touch tight from the moment they get a hold of you in the corner to the moment you let go. They will not let you move. And that is what made them great defenders. So I think this rule is it's going to take a while to get used to, and I think the referees need to be a little bit more lenient. I don't know how much more lenient you can be other than say, all right, this is a warning, that could have been a penalty, but I'm going to let you off because the rules are just coming into play. So in the next play, if I see this happening, then you're coming out, because if this I'm giving you a penalty kick, because if this continues, you're not abiding by the rules. As my Facebook Live cut out. Would you believe? Cut out because my iPhone was too hot. Look at this. That's Los Angeles for you, baby. I'll keep that on the clip. So it's going to take a while to get used to these new rules that are in place. And then the final bonus, throwing his name in there because, I just want to throw it in there. Diego Costa. He is the villain that the Premier League needs. And the villain that we should respect to a certain level. No, he's not gracious. No, he's not the best role model in the Premier League. But you can't deny the guy's movement. You can't deny his finishing. You can't deny the fact that he's able to just take the hits, distribute some of his own hits, and then move forward. And I think that his goal to put Chelsea ahead and battle back from behind against Watford showed what he is all about. His movement in behind, it was almost a mirror image of how many goals he scored in his first season. Him and Fabregas were just on the same wavelength, just clicking together. Fabregas, great ball in behind, new lease of life it seems with Conte, dropping him in the first game but now just laying him back into the team. And he played very well. Great ball in behind. Diego Costa takes a little bit of a heavy touch, but he's got the speed and the power to adjust his body and slot the ball into the back of net. And Chelsea look a team as well that are growing in confidence. Now, it's not always going to be smooth sailing. There will be bumps in the road. Diego Costa will now be looked at very closely by the referees. His dive outside the edge of the box should have been penalised. He got let off the game before. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for the guy because he scores goals. He needs to be held to the same sort of accountability as everyone else. And if he does get sent off, he's going to hinder his team. So he needs to shore up his act. Obviously, Chelsea fans are confident because Batshuayi gets on the score sheet as well. And they're going to be made to deal with those two throughout the season because Lukaku pledges his allegiance to Everton for at least another year. But rumours are circulating that they're going in for a James, maybe to play as a second striker if you play one of those guys up top by himself. And also another rumour that they're still pursuing Chiellini. I don't understand why that is. Anyway, a lot of good stuff happening in the Premier League, but those are my 5 main talking points. Apologies if I missed out on your team. There also is great talking points out there. Hull City, down at the bare bones of their squad, an interim manager still there, and they've taken maximum points. That's what the Premier League's all about. It's so unpredictable. I love that it's back. So make sure to hit me in the comments. What are your 5 talking points? Do you agree with my talking points? Hit me up on Twitter, Francis_Maxwell, and I'll see you guys very